INNERMIX show. Sorry you can't see our faces. Maybe that's a good thing.
We're too beautiful. We're too beautiful.
I mean, I didn't even put on makeup for y'all, but Google Plus decided it's not worth its time.
Hey, I just like to thank you for putting on the makeup.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Because, yeah, I did it for D. Yeah, of course, for sure.
yeah,
Happy
I'm
Mother's
working.
Day, by the way. Well, it's
Oh,
late, but yes.
well, thank you. Father's Day was a very interesting day, but it was a good
As
day.
it always is.
Oh my God. Actually, today, well, you know what? First off, I want to thank you for today's topic. It was right on time. I just like to say that.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think it was right on time for everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
It just popped in my head. It just came to me. I was
yeah.
inspired.
I said you were. We were talking about what we're going to talk about today because of our because we knew that it would be a technology challenging day because we're in such different locations today that we said let's not make it too deep just in case Google Plus says hey y'all we don't want to deal with y'all need to be closer together and we're like nah homie so so
Uh,
that we keep it light for you guys since we ended our series last week for the most part. I,
Oh, well, let's introduce ourselves first before we even go into all of that.
let's do that. Y'all know
For
who
those
we
of
are.
you, yeah, but there's some people newcomers. You never
Newcomers,
know.
yeah,
We have
newcomers.
new people every
Yeah.
week. So this is the INNERMIX show.
Hmm.
I'm Jules.
And
Over
I'm
there,
Simply D. Hmm.
if you can tell, I am female and he's male.
So you
And
see,
I am and I'm not black. And I am Asian.
you're not black,
Well, not
girl. After all
well, it
this
might
time,
it might change in 10 minutes. I'm just saying.
it might. It might. I showed so much composure and calmness today. I might be Asian. I might
Oh
be an Asian.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
So,
excited to hear those stories.
oh, I'm excited to hear why you were inspired. So, oh man, but it was a good day. We had a really good. It was let me ask this because I forget that I'm still tuned into you guys when it comes down to so let me put this on vibrate real quick before all the beeps start coming in for these questions and stuff. Um, I forgot I was at work, y'all. Um, but let's start it off with Jules. How was your weekend? What'd you do? How did it go? Who stayed alive? Who didn't make it?
Let's see. Well, that's a whole lot of I plead the fifths. I I
Smart, smart.
actually was
That legal
I,
training you went through really paid off. Oh, go.
right. For those of you who didn't listen in last week, shame on you. Just kidding. I have family visiting all this week and actually all of next week. Or this week, all of this week, starting last week. My dad is here from Korea visiting for about 2 weeks, and then my younger brother. Um, Congrats to all the graduates this weekend and the last couple weeks and whatnot. I know it was hard, but he had a graduation on Sunday, and he is down south in San Diego. I say down south, but it's like down south in Cali. So it was out down in San Diego. So we did a whole trip down to San Diego, made it a weekend. Went to um, went to the zoo. We went to downtown San Diego and walked around. There's like a historical area, I guess, of like weird displays that were kind of creepy, and a lot of them were like in construction. So we just kind of breezed through that one. But we ate a lot. Had some good barbecue in San Diego. Saw some llamas. That kind of stuff at the zoo. Um,
Mhm.
but it was fun. And then Sunday, I mean, we came back on Sunday. You know what's so funny though? I'm sure everybody on this planet is watching football, and when I say football, I mean soccer, because
Soccer.
the real
Mhm.
name is called football. Um, everybody else on the planet calls it football except for US, so whatever, I'm gonna call it football. But yes, football is what we were watching all week. I mean, my whole family, everybody is like so emphatic about it. We're totally into it, especially when it comes to like World Cup or the Olympics. We're totally into it, and so my dad is so funny because we get to San Diego and he's like, the first thing he wants to do, the only thing he wants to do is watch soccer. So he's like, we don't really even have to go out. We don't have to explore. Like, we just, let's watch. Let's watch soccer. And so, like, we went to the zoo on like Saturday. And then took a tram. There's like a tram thing that you go for like 35 minutes. That you go maybe about 70% of the zoo. And they have like a double-decker bus, and so he wants to go on the top floor because, it's fun.
Right.
Forgetting the fact that the freaking sun was beating that day, and it was so hot. We were dying. After that 35-minute tour, we paid, the tickets are not like super cheap. It's like $50 or so. So it's kind of pricey. I mean, it's not Disneyland pricey, but you know what I mean. And he was like, after the 35 minutes, he was like, well, I think I'm done. Let's go watch football. I was like, we drove all the way out here. Heck no, we're going to go watch some tigers, and we're going to go look at some orangutans. We're not leaving yet. And so we stayed around.
Tigers and the bears. They're bears today.
And, it was so funny because it's the freaking zoo. It's not like there's like rides. It's not giving, there's not a whole lot of pomp and circumstance. It's not a whole lot of, craziness. But there was a panda exhibit. Literally, it's two pandas. One. Why is the line like an hour long to see the pandas? Here comes my pet peeve number one. Why is there a line to see pandas?
Well, if it's a male and female panda, and you ain't really getting out or getting much attention on your own, you might need to live vicariously through the panda bear. And these people
pandas are solitary animals, apparently. The person, that was explaining it told us, the zoologist, that they're solitary, and the father panda, apparently there's a mother and a father panda that they kept at the zoo, and they recently, and by recently, that was 2 years ago, had a baby. Everybody is separated. The mom is in one area, the father is somewhere else, and where you can't see, and the baby is all alone because it's over 18 months old. Apparently, pandas have like a cutoff time, like Americans do. Once you're 18, you're out the house. Right. Pandas are the same way. 18 months is all you get.
well, I look at it like this. They may be having some interracial issues. I mean, they got black and white all over the place up in that piece.
Yes,
so
this is true.
They be like, look, I love you and everything, but right now I see more of your black side than your white side, and
you got to go.
you got to, you a little upset today. We'll try again in 18 months. We'll see what happens.
But I just thought that was so interesting. 18 months, and the mom kicks it out. Like, you got to go, be a man or be a woman, whatever, be somebody, and then you can't be with me. And it's just like two totally, separate human. Just two separate beings.
Work it would be for the mom to actually, to feed that baby all the time. Like, you 18 months old. How big are you?
Oh, well, no, all they do is eat bamboo anyway.
I know, but she don't want you eating up all her bamboo. She don't put that into the fridge. That's mine and your father's. Now you want some bamboo? Doggone it, you go out there and you get your own bamboo. Get a job. I mean, like, that's probably her black side, but
But you know what else is so funny about that? When you bring out the black side thing, the zoologist was saying I forget the names of the pandas, some Chinese names. They're property of China, by the way. I did not know this. They eventually will have to be returned to China. But then the panda, the female panda, and I guess they had tried to mate it with some other male panda. They did not like each other. It just didn't happen. They had one baby only by artificial insemination because they just couldn't stand each other. So they said, heck no. And then they brought another guy, a male panda, in, and they just got along a lot better. And then they had 6 babies.
She like, hey. What you do?
It's popping. Yeah, isn't that funny?
The other one, like, I just got off the boat. I really don't know my way around much. No, take him back. But you need to I'm paying for the artificial insemination. You touch me, watch what happens.
Get your black and white blood over there.
You are definitely you ain't got enough swag for me. Get over in that corner and don't you talk to me till they take you away. Till they take
That
you
is
away.
so funny. But I laughed so hard. And probably the zoologist is probably looking at me like, what is wrong with her? Because I was laughing by myself. Anyway,
Oh no
but yeah,
no no!
that
That's time. It's time for us to do intermix voiceovers. You see what I'm saying? Where we look at these images of animals and how they interact with each other, and we do it the way that we know relationships really go down. You know, we don't waste no time with the and now she's not really interested in the animal. No no no, that's not what. No no. You best step off, homie, or I will call my big. No, forget. I don't even need nobody else. I got you. She stands up. You see all this? You can't handle all this. Then she drops it like she's in the club. What?
You know what though? What's funny is I was doing that all day by myself.
Wait, dropping it like you were in the club?
No. It's like doing voiceovers over animals because some of them were acting real funny.
Yes,
Zoo animals are actually kind of crazy. So.
To the zoo with my family or whatever because we're supposed to be going in a couple of weeks because they have a new exhibit at the zoo in LA. And so I already picture myself doing voiceovers and people telling me, be quiet, stop saying that stuff. I mean, last time we went, the kids got to see some monkeys getting it on, so.
Oh, no.
So I couldn't say too much, but that monkey kept smacking the other monkey, and I just had so much to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I witnessed that once before too, and I was like, "What are they? Get a room!"
Oh no, I'll be like, the safety word is banana. Oh, other monkey looks back like, great way to stay in shape. So anyway,
Yeah.
That's your version of giggity. No, anyway, oh man.
Anyway, so that was my weekend.
Giggity. So something's wrong with me. I just gotta let y'all know something's wrong with me.
And how was your weekend?
I was just trying to remember what happened.
Damn, that's not good, huh?
well, you know what it is over the weekend. Well, actually, I guess it started on Thursday. I started getting phone calls about situations that are going on that are just very disturbing, just very, very, very disturbing, and like to the point to where I had to sit back and ask myself, how did these people get my phone number? But really, no, there are just some things that are just going on that are just insane. But one thing I would like to tell y'all about is, Father's Day was a lot of fun. Because the church, took time out, had a Father's Day breakfast, which we did not expect, and anybody, I've said it before, I wear a lot of hats, and I wear a lot of hats in the church. So it's the first time in a long time I've gotten to sit down and just, be served in the church, which was really interesting. But, good old time, just a blast. Saturday, I stayed home for most of the day, just relaxed. I slept, God, I slept like, it felt like for the first time, but I slept. Yeah, because we were preparing for our anniversary trip, and so my wife was running around doing errands, and the kids were with her, and she just told me just to go to sleep. She said just rest, but a lot of the calls that had come in, she had been there when a lot of these calls came in, and I want to thank God for helping her with her self-control and how she responds to these people's situations. Because we've heard things that amount to modern day slavery come across, where literally somebody is being forced to work or they'll have no place to live, and just all kinds of craziness. But let me tell you about today. I'm going to jump right into the topic because we talk about pet peeves. Now, everybody know that I'm a very patient person. Everybody. See, I can't even say everybody know I'm a very patient person. I like to listen and whatever. So, I can't even really go into the full details of what happened because of certain things right now. But what I can say is this. When people come up to you out of the blue and try to tell you how to take care or do something, oh, my goodness. I'm trying to figure out how to say this right. I'm trying to figure out how to say this right. When people walk up to you,
Be 100.
Okay, yeah, 100. Okay, here's keeping it 100. I was out with my wife walking on the river walk. You know where we're at. We're out just walking and having a good time. And this woman decides that she wants to tell me about something that belongs to me and how to take care of what belongs to me. But she doesn't come up to me and start talking to me all, oh, I just want to know if you are aware of. No. What she does is she's talking to me like, first off, like I can see her. I'm obviously blind. And I mean, the way she met me, I'm obviously blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking and has nothing but attitude. And then she's like, you take your shoe off. If you don't think this ground is hot, take your shoe off and try and put your foot down. Now, first off, I was reaching down to take my shoe off, but then I realized why, and I put it back on. I caught myself because I'm walking with my wife taking care of my stuff, and now you want to come talk to me about who you are, what you do, and what you think is going on. So she said, you take your shoe off, put it on the ground. So you know me, there are times when I can just be a smart butt. I'm just going to say it. I can get real smart real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so so I was about to take my shoe off, stand on that ground, say, okay, now what? Now what's your point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no. What I did instead, but then that was my second thought, because my first thought was to take this shoe off and feed it to her, right?
Yes, that was my first.
Yeah, see, I know you feel me. You feel me.
Mine was gonna be slapping it across her face, but yes.
Okay, that was my first thought, but I'm a man, so I can't say that.
Okay.
See, that, so I was just gonna feed her the shoe. And I wear a size 15, so it might be the only thing this big that she'd ever get. No, oh wait, D, come on, D.
No, you did not go there, but okay.
So I realized that when people walk up without even trying to get an understanding of a thing, it really irritates me. They just start talking, and then. And they don't even take the time to try to understand that you are very aware of what's going on, and that, like, for me, in the situation I'm talking about, I was not only aware, but the woman was wrong in her assessment of the situation. Very, very wrong. But because she thinks she knows everything, because she trains animals for the military, I said, then who slipped your... I mean, my thing was, how come your leash came off? Where is your owner? Why are you talking to me? And then there's a way to approach people when you have a suspicion or a suspect that something might be off, that you can, easily rectify, whatever. But she made my mind go to a place, and then I told my wife, I said, the reason why I had to slow my roll and slow things down a bit was because I heard my first reaction, and it was such a Compton reaction that I could not say anything other than mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, so how did you respond to her?
I responded with a mm-hmm. because there's nothing I could, because I teach people, if you cannot control the words that come out of your mouth, it's better that you just be patient, wait for the right words. Nothing that was going to come out of my mouth would have been good for the situation, right? Especially when she started cussing, and I'm thinking, you know what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, she cursed at me.
Yes, she did.
She cursed at me. So I said, so I was like, So I turned and started walking away from her, because and then she started cussing when she was behind us, and I'm like, it took so much self-control, but I know that I'm being tested. You know what I'm saying? Like, when someone's tested, because that was so random, so out of the blue. I'm like, I could have failed that test so easily, but thank you, Jesus, for helping me get past that test. Because nothing in my initial reaction was a positive way to deal with the situation. Not one of them, other than to not say a word.
Well, maybe she needs to know. She needs to learn.
Oh, no, she needs to know and needs to learn, but she needs to know and learn with somebody who is not going to destroy her. You see what I'm saying? I realized that because of the approach that she had, because I already had some other things happen this weekend, that I got a phone call from a family member this weekend that basically told me that they don't care if I'm alive or dead, and that just a bunch of stuff, right?
Wait,
And
what?
Oh yeah, but they tripping. So 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 I said, well, not a problem, because I understand that you're frustrated and whatever. So because people act out when they have particular issues. So but it's the whole idea of when you can't reach me, you start calling other family members to try to get them irritated because you can't get at me and irritate me. So so I'm like, cool, whatever. But this person that I met today almost caught the full wrath of what the other person would have caught if I had a controlled person. So I realized that wasn't fair, because me, I'm really good at explaining situations in a way that the dumbest person on earth will understand. And I was going to treat her as though she was under that person. Mm-hmm. But so I said, instead of doing that, because we all have our points that we reach, I said, let me just move on, because to act out and go with my first A, B, C, D, E, F, or G thought, my wife would be now coming up with the money to bail me out. They would say I was wrong for some reason. So I said, okay, you know what? Not that big of a deal. And mind you, we had only been at the hotel for about 15 minutes before I ran into this person. So I'd already been in a car, hot, for a good 4 hours, right? Then, 4 hours straight, no stopping, no resting, no nothing, right? Then we are 2 minutes from the hotel, and my wife gets pulled over for speeding.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was right where the speed limit changes from 50 to 35 miles an hour.
What?
Speed trap. Oh yeah, speed trap. But the officer was so nice. Oh, very, very nice. She's back there complimenting him now. Oh, just so nice. He was just so nice.
Did he let you go?
Well, he gave us a equivalent of a parking ticket as opposed to a moving violation, because she was 20 miles over the speed limit. So, but he was real nice, and I think having our friend in the back didn't hurt things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she had a squeaky clean driving record, So he that way nothing was going to hit the insurance or whatever. But these things happened. So total, we got a ticket, and I met this woman within 20 minutes of a 20-minute time span.
What a Monday you had! Exciting.
Oh, girl, there are some other things, but I just can't. It's not world business. It's just intermix business. But I will say this. No, I can't. I just feel like I can't even say that. So you know what? So Jules, tell me more about your pet peeves.
This is one that bothers me constantly, where I see it happening everywhere around me, and I'm bothered when families go out, when friends go out, when couples go out, whatever, and they whether it's at the home or outside, you're sitting around the dining table, any kind of dining table, you're eating together as a unit, as a family, as friends, whatever the situation may be, and they're constantly on the cell phone. Nobody's talking to each other. They're only on the cell phone, and I cannot, whether it be posting pictures of the meal, whether it be posting pictures of the, status updates for, oh, I am with so-and-so, or doing this and this, and making the whole experience more exciting than it is, instead of actually making the experience exciting by being in it, or doing, just anything other than experiencing the moment. That really bothers me, and I feel like more and more it happens often, more often than before, with all the different ways of technology. Personally, it's worse, like a million times worse than watching TV while eating, because at least you're watching TV together and you're talking about it together. Right. You're experiencing something together, and you are still talking about it. Like watching a football game, for example. Like, I would have dinner with my dad or whatever, and then my brother, this and that, and then we can watch the football game and still talk about, like, we're still experiencing, oh, why did you not do that one, or oh, blah, blah, blah. We're still experiencing something together, as opposed to everybody on their individual cell phones or individual tablets or whatever and doing their own thing. Then you have no idea what the other person is doing, and there's no connectivity.
well,
Word?
yeah, but I think people are just having. I'll just let you get it out, girl. Just let you get it out. But I think that one of the major things that people are experiencing is they've done so much communicating, with everybody non-verbally, that verbal. I had to literally dismantle every thought process I was having when it came down to her, so that I could get back to enjoying myself, because I can't just let it sit there and fester, because then nobody would get a good reaction from me, when I'm walking with my buddy, because of this. So I'm like, nah. so I had to, take some time out and put her where she belonged, because I realized that even though I'm obviously using tools that are for the blind, she did part. She was too busy making observations completely, and then even in her trying to explain something about, things, what she was complaining about, the subject of her conversation was actually standing there, no issues at all, while she's complaining about how this ground is hot. I'm like, what is your problem? Do you see what we see? Or are you just having, no. So, but I had to sit there and dismantle it. Then when I woke up from my nap, I told my wife, I was like, obviously she was more interested in giving us her credentials than she was about looking at what was actually happening, because she made an observation thinking that she knows everything. And then if I had taken the time to educate her, then not only would she have felt stupid, but then she would have really, she'd have tried to find another way to lash out, and then I would have started using language that does not become a man on an anniversary trip with his wife.
Right.
So, but these are the things that go in my. See, this is how my mind works. Is I think about where I am, who I'm with, and how it would affect them. And even if they when I'm with you and my wife, you guys are like, well, go get them. I'm like, no, because that doesn't represent the man that you're walking with, y'all. Like, y'all have to understand how I act ultimately reflects on who you choose to keep company with.
That's fine.
My wife had. Huh?
I said, that's fine.
See, y'all ain't helping.
That's how we roll.
Y'all, like, D, no, get them. So I'm like, no, my wife is too beautiful for me to act that kind of way while she's standing here. Because this woman was putting my wife, my wife was just shocked, because she cannot stand to see people treat me this way, and she's been seeing it a lot more because she's been doing a lot more stuff with me and with INNERMIX and stuff like that. So she's seeing a lot more, and she's hearing a lot more of the stuff that I normally protect her from. And oh man, she is not liking it, but she understands that I'm used to it. But she just, oh man. Good thing we didn't bring a shotty. No, anyway. What'd you say? Bam. Anyway.
Oh, I forgot my taser.
Oh, she said, oh, I forgot my taser. Oh, so. This hot enough for you? Anyway, but I'm finding that even when me and my wife were just hanging out today, and we were eating dinner, we were still a little bit tired, but we were eating dinner, and when we were dating, everything under the sun, we could just talk about anything and everything. Today, we sound like an old married couple. We're sitting there talking about this food. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, this is good. Now I don't know about this. Well, I don't know what this is, but that kind of stuff, right? And then our conversation. But I think it's because everything's so intertwined. Our conversation inevitably moved back to INNERMIX stuff.
Always does.
And it always does. But I think that. But I think it's part of the fun that we have together. I think it's just another thing that we share.
Yes.
And so it's not like, talking about work again. Like, she knew that I was going to be doing the show today, and she was like, As a matter of fact, she walked around telling everybody, well, he's still going to be doing the show, but, it's the first day, so, we're really not going to go out and do anything, But I think that since most of our conversation moved toward intermix stuff or moved toward, well, it moved away from church, but toward intermix stuff. So I guess it's kind of the same thing as church. But but I found that the conversations that we used to have, when we don't have them like that anymore, and if we do, it's usually because we are talking via text message or email, not email so much anymore, but instant message, text message, or I call her, have great conversations with her while she's at her job. While I'm at my job, she's talking to me. I'm like, that is so funny. But when we sitting in this place, but I think we were, like I said, we were kind of drained and just it was a hot drive, because when we got out here, we're in Laughlin, y'all, Laughlin, Nevada. It was like 102. So it was a hot drive. But I was trying to think of, on the way out here, I was trying to think of things that really set me off, and I really couldn't think of anything. My wife says it's people that not using blinkers. Well, I'm assuming with driving, because.
Yeah.
Because if an airplane is not using a blinker, I don't think anybody's going to stop them and say, "Hey, turn your blinker on." But I found that when it comes down to like people who are using their cell phones, like my wife went to a birthday party recently, and there were it was a teenager's birthday party, and her friends were all gathered around the table, and they were all on their cell phones, not talking.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just.
Yeah. But then people say, okay, because the real question now, when you ask people about that, they say, well, what do you want to talk about? And then when you say, I don't know anything. That
bothers the crap out of me.
Yeah. Like, well, what do you want to talk about?
Because you know what? Because then it's like, the whole reason why nobody at that exact moment, can bring up anything. Like, what bothers me is, like, sometimes, because it happens to my family, my friends too sometimes, like, we'll be like, hey, can we just talk? Can we just put our phones away or whatever, all the devices away while we're eating, at least? Because you have all the other time during the day to just do it. Huh?
What? So when you're hanging out with me, when we eat and stuff, you always have your cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's with you. No, but like, it's one thing if you're checking something important, like in and out, whatever. But if you're constantly on your phone, where your head is not even like looking up, where I would say you're looking at your phone more than you're looking at the person in front of you, like that to me is an issue, because now you're just having dinner with your phone. It doesn't matter if I'm there. Why am I even here? Why don't we just have dinner, or why don't we just eat, and whatever you want to, you go and eat. Whatever I want to, you know what I mean? Like, why are we trying to pick one place that we both want, or all of us want to eat, when all of us are not actually even together when we're physically together, yeah, but we're not mentally together,
Right.
Anyway, that kind of bothers me. Hello?
Yeah,
I think there's a delay now again.
Is there?
Oh, slightly.
Not, well.
Oh, it's not too bad. Okay, cool. Phew.
Yeah, you know how these things go sometimes. They just a little crazy. I'm just looking at some of these responses. But yeah, well, the hardest thing for people is they just don't know what to talk about face to face anymore. It's so convenient to be because before, when you were involved in, when you and your friends would get together and just talk about any and everything, it's because you didn't have access to everybody else's life story at the palm of your hand. So when you can, so usually when people are doing stuff on their phone, they're either playing a game. Really jacked up, because now they're just trying to escape your situation altogether. They just got caught up and hooked onto some game. Like, remember when Candy Crush was the big game? So everybody, you see what I'm saying? So you had to put it down. You just had to put it there, walk away, because it became an addiction, right? So, yeah, I'm talking about you. But then, but people usually, you find that when they are on their phones that much, they're spending a good amount of that time scrolling through Facebook, feel like they missed something, afraid to miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, okay, so if Facebook wasn't there, then of course you'd have a lot more to talk about. But since there's no Facebook, since there's Facebook, then you don't feel the need to actually engage outside of, little things here and there. And then if they do put their phone away or whatever, unless they're having a problem. Now, if they have a personal issue, they have no problem talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's personal to them. Or if they have an exciting story to tell, but if they're just having everyday normal life, went to work, came home, cleaned the house, okay, tried to clean the house, didn't really clean the house. And then I decided I was going to, I remember I had to go to dinner with you, so I went to dinner, so we're here at dinner. That was my day, right? People just, they figure, well, that's how they would write it on Facebook, so that's how they talk to you now. So the whole conversation is over in the amount of time that it would take them to type the message up.
That is so sad.
Because they've learned to, they don't know how to take you on the journey of anything that's going on in their mind. People, when they didn't want to talk about their day, they would talk about their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions, their desires, something. They would talk about what they ain't got and how they plan on getting it. And then if they do got it, what doctor they have to see to get rid of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, but they... That's Quagmire. But what's wrong with me? But the thing is now they say, oh, you didn't see when I told you, when I said that I did the such and such on when I posted it?
Yeah, seriously, I get that all the time from people. Did you see the post that I put? No, because you don't get all the posts that everybody puts up all the time.
No, because you got to set the settings, on your personal one to receive everybody's, because really all Facebook does is filter out the ones that you don't look at that much anyway. So you might be seeing, so if you have people that are selected in your list of people that are you considered to be your closer friends, those are the ones you're going to see more than the other ones that just happen to be people you have on your feed. So
think about it too. If everybody is on Facebook, and let's say, any given person has, minimum 100 friends, quote unquote friends, on Facebook, right? If everybody posts however many times a day, then there are some people who post like 20 times a day, for saying like, I went to the bathroom today. Oh, look at this. This is what I ate today. Oh, I went to the gym today.
Wait. That whole part of that conversation was bad. That was just bad. I went to the bathroom today. This is what I ate. This is what it looks like. This is what I ate today. Like, that was just a bad, I can't watch your Facebook feed no more.
No, people, that's what I'm saying. But people do that. Like, it didn't happen unless you put it up on Facebook. So, or any one of those other social media, sites. So, like, everybody has to tell everybody everything that they did that day. Otherwise, it didn't happen. Like, if you didn't post that you went to the gym and did 20 sets of this today, then it didn't happen. So you have to do it. Like, I don't want to hear about all that. It's great that you did it. I don't need to know what you ate 3 times a day today and what your poop looked like.
Lottery. Oh, no, but if you, something's really wrong with me today. But lots of sun. If you are the person who doesn't like, the behavior, how do you help people change that behavior? Because they're going to say they don't know what to talk about. It's the same situation that when a husband and wife are in the same place and the wife says, why don't we talk anymore? And then she gets mad at him for not talking. So he says, okay, fine. What do you want to talk about? And he's like, I'm willing to talk. What do you want to talk about? I don't know, anything. Well, that really didn't help, because now if I pick a topic, because I'm going to pick a topic and you're going to say, I don't want to talk about that. Or you give me a quick yes, no, I don't know. And we right back to where we were. So now everybody's picking up that same thing. I mean, before it was just exclusive to husbands and wives, but now everybody done got it. And it's hard to get people to talk about anything if you don't, part of it, I was discussing this with another friend of mine, if people really just don't care, they're not going to ask. And then they feel like, well, if you cared, you would ask. So why don't I? So why should I bring up stuff that's bothering me or that's on my mind or things that are great because you didn't express interest when you didn't like it when I put it on Facebook. You didn't respond or put a comment on. You didn't do this, that, or the other. And then now that I'm, and then I don't want to bring it up because if you were interested in something I wanted to bring up, then you would just ask me about it because you know that I have an interest in this thing.
Wait, what? I totally lost it.
So. Okay, basically, let's do it a shorter version of that. If, like, let's say you got your hair done because let's pretend you're an all woman. Okay, so so you got your hair done, but you didn't mention it because you want somebody else to notice that you got your hair done. So when the person but you did say something about it on Facebook, but the person doesn't really look at Facebook that much. Right? So you're going to sit down with somebody and you're saying, and you're talking to them and whatever, but you're not bringing up your hair because if they don't have the sense to ask you about the hair, because then they don't really care about how you feel about your hair, they don't really care much about you. This is how it cycles. First, it's just the hair, but now they really don't care about you. They just didn't want to eat by themselves. That's how it ends. That's how it ends up. And you don't even think that the other person might have something else on their mind, something that's preoccupying them, right? So, and so because you're mad that they didn't ask you about your hair, even though everybody else commented and liked it, and they didn't even say anything, right? Now, you're like, well, if you're not gonna ask me about my stuff, I don't even ask you about your stuff, and then you go right back to your phone.
See, even that's a wall right there between the couple.
Yeah, well, it is because if people were able to say how they really feel about different things because people are also way more sensitive now than they used to be. So if I came to you and said, Jules, it really bothers me that this and this happens and you don't even notice or something like that, right? Then with you're sensitive, but you would actually listen to what I have to say eventually, right? Whereas most people will be like, what you mean? I don't listen. Of course I listen. I notice everything. You're the one who, or they get really defensive. Oh, I'm just a terrible person and blah, blah. Maybe we just shouldn't be friends anymore. I'm just going to take you off my friend list on Facebook. Unfriend, it's going to be like that commercial.
Keep guilt trip.
But you see what I'm saying?
You would just delete without saying nothing.
Right, you be trying to look at her feet. What's going on? Wait, we not friends no more? Guess what? We just broke up. I know. Because you notice that people, when they break up, they first change their status before they remove you from their Facebook.
Oh, yeah?
That's because they want you to know that you ain't together no more. And they want everybody in your group to know that you ain't together no more before they remove you. Because the first thing I would do before changing my status is first remove you as my friend, right? So that you can't see none of my stuff no more because I'm about to talk some craziness about you. I might want you to see the craziness. You know what I mean? I just don't know, But I'll send you a direct message, so.
Speaking of messages, I have another pet peeve. Well, okay, so this is also having to do with social media, only because being somewhat, in public light in what we do and stuff, and understanding, maybe this is just because one of my biggest pet peeves is reality TV. I just can't stand it. So it kind of bleeds into social media where, I don't want to expose every corner, every little aspect of my life to every single person. I can't do that. I don't want to be an open book to that degree. I don't think people should, especially when it comes to your relationship. I don't think that you should. It's like basically giving everybody in the world, a key to your house. You don't want to do that. So, what behind closed doors, there's got to be some kind of etiquette and there's got to be some kind of privacy behind closed doors. Like there are certain things that you want to keep between you and your spouse or you and your best friends or whatever, you know what I mean? And but at the same time, so because of that, and that's the motto that I live by, when it comes to, I know, because this only happens because there are some people who put it up all the time. Like they live together, they're husband and wife, or they're boyfriend and girlfriend. They've been together for 50 bajillion years, and they might live together or whatever, and they see each other every day, live together, and all of that, and then they talk to each other by on Facebook, not like a direct message, but on,
Oh,
public, yeah,
right, right.
public status. And then, then they get the, oh, you guys are so cute. Oh, such lovebirds. Oh, blah, 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 comments. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like what feeds their ego of their love.
Yeah.
The status of their love gets bigger because you get more comments. That bothers me to no end. Why? But it really bothers me to no end. Not because I'm jealous. Don't get it twisted. It's not jealousy. It's like, you love each other so much, talk to each other about it. Not everybody in the world needs to see, or hear that you love this and that, and like, oh, how you do this and how you do that. Like, I don't need to know all that. Like, I get that you guys are in love, that you love each other, and all is good. Fantastic. I'm so happy for you. You guys are a great couple. I don't need to know every single thing that you do and say to each other all the time. I don't.
Well, apparently, you said something that people are actually interested in talking about. Okay, so
Okay.
so so good thing you attacked the jealousy thing because that was the number one thing that popped up. But but the one that caught my attention the most was this one that basically said that is it because you don't know how to express your true feelings for a person outwardly? Is it because you have to keep it so private that you don't want everybody to know how you feel? And that's followed. Well, the other one was, which actually is the one that cracked me up first, was the one that basically says that, I'm going to paraphrase because they probably still typing, but basically the direction they're going is, or is it just that, is it because you're a public figure that you feel like you're over it already, whereas people who don't live your lifestyle, don't have people always want to know about them, so they feel that, so they want to share their life, in this way. So basically, and now
I
there's
see what you're saying, and no, because even before I started INNERMIX, even before all of that, there was MySpace, there was other, sites. I did not, and I was in other relationships. I did not post about them because my relationships are my relationships. I will talk about it with people that I trust, who will give me sound advice, not just random advice. And whether good or bad, I will talk about it with people that I believe will give me sound advice and things like that. And I have done that, and I have done that from way back. It's before all INNERMIX stuff happened. So
I think the psychology in it is because some people, like you said, it does feed their love. Other people, it's it's a way to stay in touch in a way that, because like a lot of people don't know how to talk to each other. But this goes back to what we were saying originally. A lot of people just don't know how to talk. So the only way they can do it is to write to each other, right? And I'm like, okay.
And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You can write love letters. You can write notes. You can write on post-its. All good.
Bill, what's wrong with you?
What?
Don't nobody read letters unless it's a bill. Like.
But that's what I'm saying. If you can't, all you can do is write to each other. That's fine. You could keep it in a message. Private message. You don't have to.
No, because then it doesn't endorse. Then there are no endorsements. You see what I'm saying? Like.
But that's what I'm saying. All you're looking for is endorsements.
There's no endorsements. But the other thing, but there's a part that you said that I think is most interesting is like if I write to my wife and I'm writing a story about something I've gone through or whatever, and I'm writing it, I'm putting it on Facebook, right? The one thing I don't do is ask for advice about anything. A lot of people, when I see couples do a lot of stuff, they'll not only talk to each other, but they will actually ask for people's advice or look at their opinions and see if their opinions matter. Honestly, I don't care. Oh, another pet peeve. Never mind. Go Oh, man. We're still on this one. But yeah, so
come back to that one.
Yeah, I'll come back to that one. It just reminded me about having this discussion. But But it's really interesting how, because some things are just not going away anytime soon. Like people communicating with each other on Facebook, that's not going to go away soon. Matter of fact, there are people who are upset because they don't get talked about on their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever's Facebook page. They don't talk about their relationship. Some people don't even acknowledge that they're in relationships on Facebook because they hate social media that much because they don't want it to pry in, right? But that group is becoming smaller and smaller. Now, I heard about this recently from from somebody who likes to date online, but they never post who they're dating on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, interesting, because they're like, well, it's two different things. You're out there looking for a good relationship and all that, but at the same time, you don't want everybody to know that the one you just saw, the one you were going to have a date with or whatever, that one didn't work out 2 days later. You don't want people to, have opinions about who you are as a dating person, just a bunch of stuff, and I can understand it. But this one girl.
Yeah. And here's another thing. What's out there? It's out there. You can never get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, there's one who broke up. There's a girl who broke up with her man because he would not write about her on Facebook. And I asked her, but doesn't he talk to you? And she said, yeah, but it's like he just wants to keep our love a secret. Like, he says he loves me, but not really loves me, because if he really loved me, he wouldn't care who knew. Does his family know he loves you? Well, yeah. Okay. Isn't that important?
Have you met his friends?
Yeah,
not just through social media, but actual physically?
Right, but I think it's becoming such an integral part of things. It's kind of like how me and my wife, even though we talk about our kids and our dreams, hopes, and whatever, it always circles back around to intermix. It's just become an integral part of our overall relationship. And with people with social media, because, especially a lot of these newer couples, they grew up in social media. It's just like talking on the phone to them. When somebody first told me, email me at my Facebook email, I'm like, what? Why? Like, why would I email you on Facebook? Why would I attach my Facebook contacts to my messaging contacts on my phone? Why would I do that? Facebook people are Facebook people, right? But
it's one thing if you this is two-part. One thing, if your friends are literally people that you like, family and friends you talk to all the time, that you want to keep in contact with, you want to let them know what's going on in your life, kind of like a family reunion thing that's going on every day, right? That's
yeah.
fine. And the second part is, it's one thing if you do it once in a while, like, I just want to shay. I can't. My mouth.
Really?
I just want to say how much I love you, blah blah blah, whatever, love letter, this and that, once in a blue moon, all good. What I'm talking about, there are people who write to each other like 10 times a day, saying these things every day. Every day. So in my feed is all that every day. I don't need to see it every day. That's all I'm saying.
The quick solution to that is just to remove them from your friends.
Yes, I know. Oh, you remove. I don't want to remove them completely from my friends list. They're my friends. I just don't need to see it every day.
You can actually segment them into a different classification. So when you're ready,
I just hide their feed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have people that are on my Facebook. Yes, I do. Right. And what I do is there's a separate category. So when I want to see the craziness, then I'll just click on that part of the thing. So that way, because there are lots of people who are actually posting really cool things, like people who have kids that are doing really well, that kind of stuff. And since my family's since my wife's family and my family are all, all over the place, in the U.S., then it makes it easier. And plus, like, one of my sister-in-law, she goes to school down in Mexico right now, and she's having a good time. So I love that aspect that I can reach all over the place and see these people. And then, so I don't really get a lot of craziness on mine. Those people that tend to have comments that are a little just like, why are you even posting that? Or what sense does that even make to even put that up there? Do you know how ghetto you look right now? See, those people, they're all on a different tab. So my main feed, when I look at my Facebook page, I might see you and a few other, I see maybe, a good section of people, but people who I know, when they put something up, it's either going to be really funny, really tragic, really informational, or just a good time, Like, I think you give less information than anybody else I see online. But it's the funniest thing in the world, because you're like chilling with my girls, good times. You know, and then you don't see a post for like 3 weeks. Like, wow, she's still partying with her girl. Girls' night, you know.
Well, you know, a lot of times lately, I don't even go on Facebook. The only time you even see something is when somebody tags me,
Yep.
which sometimes I don't even like. I'm like, don't tag me, don't tag me. Like, I don't need everybody to see where I am at all times. And maybe it's because, you know, I don't want my mother to pry and look at everything. I mean, she does that too. Bothers the crap out of me. Yeah, parents, don't slide your kids on Facebook, please.
You don't want nobody to be able to. You don't want people to be able to tag your movements. That's what it is.
No,
Like,
but it's not like I'm doing anything wrong, obviously. Like, I'm just like, I don't need everybody to know what time I go to bed, what time I sleep, what time I eat, what I eat, you know, I don't need everybody to know all that. That's my life. I try to keep it as private as possible to some degree so that I keep my sanity. You know, I don't need everybody's opinions on everything that, you know, I need to put it out there like that.
Your child, and they don't even have children.
oh, my wife's one is when people try to tell you how to parent your child and they don't have no kids themselves.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But you know what's one I have an upgrade to that one. People who try to tell you how to raise your child when they messed up raising their own.
Amen.
I'm not gonna say, hey, sweetie, don't say. I'm not gonna say no names. She's back there talking. But yeah, I recently had to have a discussion with somebody because they wanted to tell me how great they are at being a parent, right? And I do not want to burst any bubbles, but I know more about what happened when they were parenting than they know about what was happening, right? And so I said, so I just said, you know, as much, you know, because I wanted to be respectful, but at the same time I said, what you were asking me to do, I am not going to do. It's not going to happen. So then they got upset and called my wife because they were upset at me for saying no, right? And my wife's response to that was, "Isn't that what he said?" Basically. So it's you know, but it's a very, you know, people are getting all outside themselves, stepping over their bounds and all that kind of stuff, right? It just stepping out. But then one thing, and like LaShawn is even saying, one thing about it is that when you're a public figure, it gets harder and harder to keep people out of your business because in your dating, someone's gonna know, they're gonna know who you're dating. When you're you know, when you're working on a project, they're gonna want to know. And because of the way social media works, even your private, like one of the hardest things I think is privatizing a like Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because it's not hard to break out of the privacy setting part of it, but it's also the more secretive, the more people are trying to hack to find, you know, stuff out. So because I was in a meeting last week where I was talking to someone and I said, you know, there has to be another forum for entertainers who want to still have their own private social media experience, you know. And then you find out that that's how come most entertainers don't have a Facebook that they run. Let's put it like that. Right? They have a Facebook, but they don't have a profile Facebook. They only have the Facebook fan page, and even if they do have a profile one, they're not running it. And because their life is all in the public space. The hardest thing, I think, is to say, okay, I have to remove my personal fun space that I have for myself because I'm a entertainer, and I have to, and you know, so even though I like reading these people's posts and interacting with people in this space the way I use my social media, it's increasingly harder to have my own private life, because especially the way things work now, and this is there's a lawsuit in the works right now because of it, but the way things work now is once you hit what they like to call in the meeting the level, you know, and that doesn't mean you don't even have to be a F-list artist anymore to hit the level. Let me tell you that first, okay? But once you hit the level, which is been determined to be the level of pure curiosity from the fans and all that kind of stuff, when people really want to interact and know you, right? In any shape, form, or fashion, any dimension of the way, or any rating of the way they want to get to know you, they start investigating. Like everybody has a friend who's their own personal private detective online. You know, they can find any and everything, right?
Oh, I have
Well,
two of them.
yeah. See, I got a few. But the thing is, um, it's like the only way to remove that kind of stuff, and it doesn't, totally remove it is to end your social media experience. But the moment that happens, people lose interest in the work that you do. So everything's so tied together, that it's really hard to maintain a personal life. Like what I do is I make sure that, like if anybody's gonna see my something on me or my family, they're going to have to be invited by me to see it. You know what I'm saying? But you can't just find pictures of me and my wife and my kids just anywhere, right? Because it just doesn't make sense. But I was looking at the thing. Okay, so but one thing that does work is anybody who's had old school training when it comes down to privacy in the entertainment industry, that stuff still works today online. But a lot of the new entertainers don't get that training. They don't learn how it really works and how to maintain your privacy and maintain your sense of self, because what people don't want you to have as an entertainer is a sense of self. They want you to be theirs, and they want you to be what they want you to be. Mm-hmm. They say you've changed. So it can be kind of hard dealing with that. And even back to your first point about the phone call, people being on their phone the whole time, and it's supposed to be interpersonal settings. It still comes back to, what do they talk about?
Life.
Yeah, but they've already written about it. So what do they like? Like if you're sitting in a situation where, like you said, you have a whole bunch of family in town right now, or that you hung out with. So like if you're hanging out with your family and you guys are, just sitting around a table, what are you guys going to talk about after you do the initial catch up?
We talk about everything. We go do things together, as opposed to do things individually. And
right.
in all honesty, it's also I miss my family. I don't live with them. They're miles and miles. In particular, my parents, they're like halfway around the world. So the time that I get to even like breathe the same air next to them, that's precious to me.
But you have a real reason. You know what I'm saying? Most people are not that far removed from their families and their friends. So, and people who are separated from their friends by that kind of space usually don't stay friends that long, statistically, right? Because everybody's lives evolve in a whole different direction. They don't know how to stay in contact with each other. So, so you may have a different. I mean, how you view it is not off, but you may have a definite urgency or sense of, I don't want to lose these moments to cell phones. You know what I'm saying? Whereas everybody else, they're like, well, I see this person, pretty often or whatever, and it's just not, so, like the teenagers at the party, they see each other in school all the time. Then, so they got a birthday party, cool, we were at a birthday party, but they're sending pictures and putting it on Instagram that they were at this party, but they're spending every moment checking on everybody else's Instagram since they opened it up anyway to post their stuff.
No, yeah, if you're comparing my family to that, fine, but I do that with friends, I do that in relationships. I'd rather sit there and stare at your face and talk about your face than us being on separate phones and doing random things. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, share with me what you're doing. Then at least we're in it together. As opposed to you on yours and mine on mine, or me on mine, and we're just doing two totally different things, not experiencing anything, and have absolutely nothing to talk about. At least if you're showing me what you're doing, and then we experience, whether it's a video clip, whether it's a game, whether it's, some crazy pictures you found, I don't know, whatever, memes. First of all, what the hell does memes mean? And then, like, at least we're looking at it together, laughing about it together, joking about it together, as opposed to you do you, I do me. Why are we even together? Why are we, then let's just you do you over there and I do me over here.
Right. And I understand, and I definitely understand that. But how do you fix it?
By sharing the moment.
That on the phone, they'll send it to you. There's a share button on everything.
See,
But that's the inclusive part. That's how people do. Like now, instead of sharing what the like if you have a Samsung phone, technically, if people are they can beam it to each other and they can all be watching it at the same time. At least with Hangouts, people can actually watch the same clips at the same time and then discuss. You can be interacting in the same space, even if it is a social media or or an online space, and interacting. That's what Hangouts was put together to do because Google saw that there was a real need for people to be able to sit there and spend so much time online to be able to still share their online experiences with each other, not just
to me, this is an epidemic. This is like Wall-E happening in real life. In the movie Wall-E, all the people are like ridiculously obese because they don't move. All they do is sit in their little, beam me up Scotty type chairs with video cameras or screens and stuff. They do their own thing. They watch their own thing. Nobody actually looks at another person physically in the face and does anything. They're all, and then something happens where Wally comes and he messes something up, and then like these two people fall off their chairs, and then they actually bump into each other and have a conversation, go swim in a pool, experience life together, and it's so much more enjoyable. But it's crazy how right now it's coming to that point where we don't interact at all with anybody. It's more like we interact with devices more so than we interact. I even saw another, like a comedy thing that my brother was watching the other day. It was a Korean comedy show. And then they were discussing 1 year without your cell phone versus 1 year without your girlfriend. And then like they were doing like a debate, like what is more important to you? No, like right. But I mean, luckily they chose right, and they said 1 year without girlfriend will be worse. But but you know what I mean. But it was a pretty close call actually. The audience voted. I think it was like 60-40. So that kind of tells you people are so attached to their devices that they would rather choose that over a physical human being.
Well, the thing is with the device though, like if I were going to just stand back and look at it all, the device allows you to feel like you're a bigger part of the world, like you matter more. You have a bigger significance when you are, but when you are dealing with flesh and blood, somebody real, then you're only real to that person. You know what I mean? And sometimes that can cause you to feel like you're not as important. Everybody right now is looking more to feel like they are an important part of the world, not just an important part of somebody's life. And that's what social media has made people do, is they feel better. That's how come, like, when you talk about your relationship in a social media space, you want people to acknowledge how great your relationship is. And because it makes you feel like my relationship stands out in the world, not just stands out to me.
It's basically like,
you see what I'm saying?
Beauty contests in high school all over again. Well, popularity contests in high school.
I don't even think it's a popularity thing so much as I think it's more of it's a sense of value thing. When people don't get a certain amount of likes on their birthday, they get depressed because people to them. Like when you think about the actual health part of becoming addicted, because anything can become an addiction. But it comes down to how do you value yourself in comparison to others. And usually that's what people determine their value is in comparison to others, as opposed to standing on their own sense of self. But most people don't have that sense of self, especially when you talk about people your brother's age and under. My brother's age and under, right? Because he's 6 years younger than me, right? Like my brother, he is more into video game and video game culture, but in that video game culture, he's somebody because he ranks a certain level in video game play, right? Where with people who are more social media, need to be up on every video, need to be part of the trend that's going on and whatever, their sense of value, basically how they what's going to say, how they stacked
How
up.
much
Did
likes?
they
How
see
many
the
likes
same
they
thing
get?
everybody else saw? I mean, well, not just that.
Right.
Were they in on the know? Like, were they a part of the know, or how come they were one of the last people to see this thing that had been out for 2 years? Something like that. It's like they want to be relevant, and they want to be able to talk about things that are relevant to the masses, not to the individual. But then they seek after people who will treat them like an individual, because everybody still has the desire to be loved and given attention to and all that kind of stuff. That's why they seek us out. But the but the real of it is when you don't have somebody like you or me or focused primarily on where do I fit, how do I become accepted at least by this small group. And you're talking about, like, on Facebook, let's just say the average amount of people is 100 people on your page. If you can't get 7 people to like something you say, then you're not even worth 7% of the people. Like you haven't even hit 7% mark. And you're valuing your whole sense of value. You see what I'm saying? You see how jacked up that is? It's like you have 100 and some odd people on your Facebook, and you can't even get 30 people to say happy birthday. So, and it does hit your ego. You do see, like for instance, when your birthday comes around, you'll probably get a good, I don't know, 40, 60. So if I turn around and get 15 likes, I'm like, oh, Jules is more liked than I am. If I was insecure, I would be like, forget her then. So what? I don't care. I'm not gonna like her birthday, so she'll see how I feel about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, people, their value is based on how much of a response they can get to social media.
No, I know that, and I think that's why it's a problem, is what I'm saying.
But how do you rectify that? How do you get people to real quick, Michael, if you could please turn off your video feed, because we're having feed issues through Google today. So that way you can still communicate with us.
Okay. Will do.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah, he can.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, but that's, so that's one of the major. Yes, thank you. I was noticing that the time lag was getting more and more changed. I was like, oh, so I looked at the. So, but yeah, Jules, I mean, I think that what it's really coming down to is we recognize that there's an issue, but how do you solve the issue when advantage of the issue?
Well, that's just how, unfortunately, we always take advantage of everything. It's just so capitalistic of us.
Oh no, because yeah, go ahead. I was thinking about something.
I think the whole thing, to me, I want to start a social movement. How about that? How about them apples? Let's just like, when there was a whole thing about, like, getting on your feet and having kids, like, enjoy physical activity again, and healthy food again, as opposed to fast food and playing video games indoors all the time and not getting any physical exercise. I think it's important that we exercise the skill to socialize. Exercise, not by a medium, but in physical proximity, and in front of each other, actually learning how to communicate again, because that's a lost art, unfortunately, these days. I've noticed it firsthand.
But that's why, with the mission that we have as a company, right, which improving the not only improving the quality of life of those we come in contact with, but to help people learn to communicate again. No one is even necessarily hosting those kind of events for people in relationships, or even trying to build relationships for getting together, unless there's a romantic component to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, speed dating is one of the most frequently. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, like no, your image disappeared for a minute too when
No, no, Michael disappeared.
okay.
Call that.
But,
Yeah.
so like speed dating is one of the most social, social interact, in-person social interactions people go to nowadays. Other than now, if you do a meetup, but even those aren't even doing as well as they did a couple years ago because now people are like, well, we can meet up, but people are still starting to. So unless you're doing a really physical activity, they're getting on their cell phones. But now, when they do that physical activity, they just use their GoPros, so they can post it or So it's still very. So basically it's the version of that chair that you talked about with the cameras on it. Now you're at a meetup and you're bike riding, but you're bike riding and the person is talking to you, but they got a GoPro strapped to their head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So no matter what, no matter how much you try to avoid it, sooner or later everybody's going to be tagging. Because like Facebook, for instance, right? Not Facebook. I mean Google. Google now has it where once somebody tags you once in a photo, they will tag every other
Recognize
photo.
your face. Yeah.
Has your face. So whether you post it or not, they now know your name when they put your picture up on Google and they ask you, is this Jules?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Do you see how scary that is?
Oh yeah, girl. I know. But that's why it's so important to have like one of the things I do, right, is because we're entertainers and because of the thin wall we have to have. It has to be a wall, but it has to be thin enough for us to be able to still interact with people, right? And so what I do is I make it a point that when I tag things, I tag them with the artist part, not the personal part, because you do have to kind of have those two lines. And I found that even as INNERMIX, that becomes harder because people know us in two ways. And so sooner or later, even that wall will be broken. It'll come crumbling down. So it's just very hard. But that's kind of the direction the world is moving in. Is why do you need to be away from us? We want to know you, type of thing.
No, it's not even. It's not everybody. I believe everybody needs to have a certain level of privacy for their life to be sane. Yes. Otherwise, you become Kanye and think you're the god of everything, or just weird.
Well,
what?
Yeah, I said, but isn't that the direction everybody is moving? Is they want godlike status, and and the hard part is the billions of people that are on Facebook, right, or the hundreds of people that are on Google Plus. No, the
Go on, you're right. Uh-huh.
Man, you've been to that. But anyway, but no, the real of it is everybody is trying to search for because you can't get rid of the fact that our lives have become so social, right? But people have become so sensitive in this new landscape that they don't know how to. They don't know how to be or how to determine. They don't necessarily know outside of like you said, like if you want personal time, you take that personal time in your home. But when you go out, then it's basically like paparazzi say, hey, it's open season, right? So and because everybody posts the best stuff, then everybody wants to live up to what the best stuff should be. So they live so if you watch people, they have a social media life and then they have their real life. Their real life, they'll talk to you about kind of sort of because that's the part that they really want to get understanding and love and attention. But they want that interpersonal part. But when it's their social media life, which is what they want people to think their life is like, then they go out and they have these wild times and they don't really care about interacting with you so much as just sharing that they were with you. Because everybody that you tag in a photo brings your real estate up in a social media situation. And so it's really difficult. Like me, I don't hang out with a lot of different people, right? So if I'm going to put a picture up, it's going to be a picture of me. Picture of me and my wife. Maybe a picture of me and Jules, but really, I don't hang out with Jules that much. I can't take it. So, but but you know but I don't really care about having a big, you know, those big grandiose moments, because I know that, you know, not far from now, it's gonna be those times when I'm running for my own hotel room so I can just be by myself. You know what I'm saying? So but everybody, no, but most people are not doing the entertainment lifestyle, so they want the entertainment lifestyle experience.
Well,
And
maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I just want calm. I don't, you know, when I was younger, maybe I had more energy. um, it was, you know, when I was looking for more excitement, or when I was looking for more drama, or because it was cool or whatever, or I wanted to like
something to talk about.
fit in, or huh?
But that gave you something to talk about. That excitement always generated conversation.
Yeah,
Now,
and then but that, you know, it came to a point where I didn't want that anymore. I don't want to be at the topic of the conversation. I don't want to, you know, have funny stories or exciting stories all the time and like be, you know, be the one that has to like be the story maker. I don't want that position. I want to
but
be.
you've had the position. A lot of people have not had the position until social media really took shape. So say you had that position before social media took off the way it did. So so your experiences in that setting is more valuable, and it had a much longer lasting effect on your life than people who are popular and have a top story on Facebook for like a day. You know what I'm saying? Because that was their highlight moment. Now it's gone. Like if you were the center of attention, or you came up with a funny story, or you tripped and fell, or like when you brought the food to your friend's house and tripped and fell. I'm gonna leave the story at that, right? You know what I'm saying? But that's a story that can go on for weeks, months, years, and people will still laugh at that story. You know what I'm saying? Facebook, you're like, oh, I remember that time you posted that video. Oh, I remember that time that you posted that video. You know, like, you know, because it's over. It's over in a second. It's over real quickly. And so with you,
Maybe that's what it is. Everything on social media is so flighty that
yes,
it's here 1 minute, gone the next, and so it's so superficial, and it's not lasting. There's no meaning behind it, and
right.
maybe that's why I'm so like over it, because there's no real legit like profound. I mean, granted, yes, there are some amazing things you find. Like there are, I always actually find great quotes and great inspiring stories. There are stuff out there that's amazing. I'm not disapproving of any of that for sure, but I'm saying more than likely a lot of the things that come up are it's very like, I wouldn't say half and half. It's less percentage than that, but a lot of stuff is very fluff, and I don't have time for fluff. Maybe that's what it is. I just don't have the patience for fluff.
Well, right, but you're also working in an industry that was built on fluff. And then if like man, these people are going in. Hold on, I gotta put these earphones in. But because basically what now is being said is that how are we going to disapprove of a medium that has helped us to obtain the popularity that we have as Intermix? And hold on. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Kind of far apart, but it's okay.
Oh, this better?
No, it sounds like you're like in space. Like you're an astronaut.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
But anyway, so basically what they're saying is how we're going to be disapproving of the platforms that we have used to allow us to become recognized in the social media space and basically help us build our brand. And this
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this Facebook altogether or any social medium altogether. I'm not saying don't use it ever. All I'm saying, because that's not what I said ever. I keep saying ever. Because I never said that. What I'm saying is, I think to devote more time more time staring at spending time on the social medium as opposed to the people next to you, the people that matter to you, the loved ones, your family, your husband, your wife, your kids, your friends. I think that is where the problem lies. It's not that you should not ever look at Facebook, that you should, that's not what I'm promoting at all. I think there's great things that to be found on social media platforms. I find it all the time. I agree with that. Well, what I'm saying is, it's if I'm sitting next to somebody, trying to have an experience, or both of us having a moment, an experience to enjoy something together, enjoy time together, yet we're both on our separate worlds doing our own thing, then why are we even trying to spend time together when we're doing separate things anyway? Like, we lost the ability to talk is face to face and have social interaction and experience the moment together as opposed to through a medium.
Okay, I'm gonna try to say this name. Gillespie is asking, haven't you ever gotten so close to someone that you really didn't need to talk much at all? So it's easy to go to the device, but you yet still feel like you had a meaningful experience with the person. Because apparently that's how it is with her and her boyfriend. So, wow, Gillespie. Okay. Well, when I'm hanging out with, honestly, when I'm hanging out with Jules or my good friend Randy, right? We can talk and not talk, and we talk. It's great, but once the conversation is over or whatever, we can go to our devices and still go right back to talking if a subject comes up and the devices go away. But it's one of those things where, how would you describe it? But it's one of those things where it will not take the place of the person. It's I guess especially with like me and my friend Randy, they're more like gap fillers. Like, oh, well, now that we've taken a breath, let's take a look. Okay, we're back. Like it's a commercial break. And really, for me, and I'll be totally honest. Why do I say that? I'm always totally honest. But I personally I understand the need for people to be able to communicate because, they say the world is getting smaller, but really people are moving further and further apart. So I do understand the need for, like, the social media aspect of things. And I appreciate having, like, Skype or Hangouts so I can talk to people that are far from me. Because for me... but
again, that's still talking. That's still talking to the person.
Right. But what I'm saying is, so I understand the need for the social media stuff. And, me and technology, we go hand in hand because that's how I get through most of the things I do, right? But do I like having to remember to do things in social media when I could be doing, like, several other things? Not all the time, no. I mean, because, but I have to think about it from my perspective. Okay, if you guys see it from my perspective, I have my own personal stuff, and we handle all the intermix stuff. And then we also have to keep track of the analytics and all the stuff that happens with the intermix stuff. So now social media isn't just a fun place to hang out; it's a job, at times, right? And then turn around and you're trying to make sure that everybody's having a pleasant experience because we want to affect the people around us in a very positive way. But the hard thing is we have to use a social media platform and use it in such a way that it encourages people to actually get to know each other outside of the social media platform. Right? And which means that if you see us on there all the time, then you're going to assume that's where we spend most of our time. and actually somebody else just said that too. David just said, well, that's probably why we don't see that many posts from you guys. No, because we actually spend a lot of time talking to others, helping them, like we do a lot of life coaching and stuff like that. So we help people get their lives on, get them back to a place where they can talk to others too. Sarah is still asking, but still I don't hear a solution on how to engage people in conversation again because, what was it she said? No, because when people are trying to talk to each other, they only seem to know how to go so far before the walls come up. They don't just talk anymore.
Well, it's like, I feel like it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you have to exercise, just like anything else. When you first start working out your abs, when you first start doing sit-ups or push-ups or whatever.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Your abs, ABS, abdominal muscles. or any kind of exercise. When you first start running again, when you first start doing anything again, it hurts. You're gonna hit a wall. It's not pleasant all the time, but the more you get to do it, the more you do it, the more you're gonna get used to it, the more you're gonna expand, and the more you're gonna, learn to do things more efficiently or whatever. I think it starts from at least at the dinner table, at least when you're eating and having a meal together. Put away the devices. Try it. And yeah, you might kind of have silences or moments of like awkwardness or whatever, but work through that. Think of things to talk about with each other. It might hurt in the first couple times, but eventually you will learn how to talk again. That's for me, that's something that I implement in I say my household, but like whenever I am with my family, my siblings, or whatever, like that's kind of a rule. Like with my friends too, I try to make that. It's used to be something that was etiquette. You do that as etiquette. Like you don't bring that to the table. You look at the person and have a conversation while you're eating, as opposed to like some other thing. That's just kind of something that was considered rude. I don't know at what point it was no longer something that was rude.
When the table left the situation, that's when
I'm
that
sorry?
started to change. When the table left the situation for a while, because remember, people, most of America don't even use dining room tables anymore. They gather around the TV or they whatever, because there came a point when people weren't even together for dinner as much anymore. Parents could not be home with their kids for work reasons,
Right,
and
right,
all that.
right.
So the kids are filling that space with electronic devices. Those kids are now the 20-year-olds. You see what I'm saying? So it's become normal to not have to look your parents in the face when you talk to them, or when you think that, like I'm working on something right now where it talks about rape culture will not change until hookup culture changes. Stuff like that. But it's one of those things where until people say that they want to talk to you, because people don't really come to you and say, hey, I want to talk to you, and then have a reason why they want to talk to you. They just say, why don't we talk, right? And it poses problems in all kinds of relationships. Because when you say, like when I go to my wife and I say, hey, let's talk about something, I usually have an idea of what I want to talk about, because it helps guide them into a direction of talking. And then once you talk about one thing, it usually spins off into the next, into the next. That's how conversations happen. But a lot of people, the biggest conversation pieces are whatever they saw in social media, and they don't have anything to move with, because unless they talk about another YouTube video or another whatever, and so it's hard to get people's ideas on things that are happening outside of that space. And then even I'm going to try to say this right. Oh, good Lord, Jahanmiya. Jahanmiya. That sounds right. Jahamia. Okay. She's asking. She says, "I'm a girl." She's. Thank you. She said, "I did say it right." Thank you, Jahamia. Okay. So she's asking when. She's asking you, Jules. When you hang out with me, what's the first thing you usually want to talk to him about? What is it that you have in mind when you do sit down and have your dinners or whatever? Or do you ever come with a topic, or what is it that motivates you into a discussion with him versus with me? And she says, is it always somewhat work related, or do you have discussions that are outside of work and stuff like that? Do you basically the same question we usually get? Do we interact as normal friends do, where we talk about everything other than work? Apparently.
Well, in the case of me and Dee, it's a little different because we don't see each other every day. We're not, close in vicinity. We're not, it's kind of difficult. And he has his life, I have my life. Yes, we have intermixed life, but we also have our separate lives. He has 2 kids, so enough said. And they're in summer school, I believe, or they're not in summer school, I believe. So enough said. But like whenever we do see each other, we have so much to catch up on, that not just intermix related things and business stuff, but also our personal lives. Like we have things that family stuff, we have friend stuff, conversations with each other kind of don't end. maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. But if
Didn't she?
I mean, it's to the point where D and I can talk about lint. We can talk about like mold growing on something. We can talk about like flowers and all the things that he's allergic to. Like, like we can talk about anything. And but it's a skill set that I think we developed. He's just a great talker. He talks a lot, as you guys know. Me, I
Go ahead.
also like to, I also like to talk. So it was just kind of a good match in the sense that because we both like to talk, we have a good conversation, archive or arsenal.
Beautiful.
What?
I just went on Facebook to see if the first thing that pops up. I said I just went on Facebook to see the first thing that pops up when I open the Facebook up, and it's a picture of you and your dad.
Me and my dad.
Yeah, see, you're not even aware that it just.
Okay, so anyway.
That was just funny. We're sitting there talking about, spend time talking. I said, let me see what's on Facebook real quick. I'm just curious what the first thing that pops up. And it happened to be your big bug.
Hilarious.
Facebook is
So,
on.
anyway, it's funny how we went into the whole social media route when we were talking about pet peeves. But, yeah.
I mean, there's so many things, but I think that a lot of the issues that we find with because people in social media, they feel very entitled because they can be known and anonymous at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
The way people treat each other has changed. But the one thing that me and my wife noticed even today was that even though we ran into one really just ugly situation, a lot of people, when they have jobs that don't allow for them to have time to do social media stuff as much, a lot of them develop great customer service skills because they enjoy the people. Just like we went to get yogurt yesterday, and the guy and his coworker, they just talked and talked and talked, and then when they weren't talking to each other, they were talking to us, and but it was a very interactive, a great experience. And we're starting to notice though that the other thing we're noticing is that a lot more guys are developing better social skills than a lot of the girls that work with us that we run into. And so I asked one guy the other day, like, so what made you decide to develop such great communication skills? He said it annoyed him half to death that his sister was always on Facebook, so he just stopped going on to that kind of stuff. But it is funny how, if you look at statistics, that Facebook and a lot of these other things are primarily women-driven. So I think it's that need to be in the know, where where there are a lot of guys on these things. So I can't say that it's not, but guys will do stupid stuff on these things. Like the thing I sent you, that was funny though.
That was pretty funny.
But I really saw you. Like he could have just wished out, and you could have been in his place. You see what I'm saying? And the comments would have pretty much been the same. Oh man! But even in that situation, did I send it out to everybody? No.
No.
To you, my wife, and our producer. That was it.
And we talked about it afterwards.
Yeah. I think.
Sort of.
Oh, we need right now. So yeah.
In comment, I did tell you.
Yeah, we can make a comment. But our one-line comments turn into like we understand the whole phrase behind it and after it. So, but I think that it's just to inspire conversation because like Jules was saying, like we get together and we after seeing each other for not seeing each other for a period of time and whatever, and we get together and although work sometimes enters into the conversation, it our work technically is a reflection of our personal lives. It really is. And that's how come that need to maintain a separate section of our personal life is that much more important to us because everything we go through becomes known in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And we're the ones telling it before somebody else comes up and tells it. You see what I'm saying? So when we are enjoying time on our own and doing those kind of things, it allows us to breathe before we bring you the next episode of You Won't Believe What Happened to Me Today, type stuff. But our experience is a little more, what's the word? Our experience is a little bit more in your face than a regular actor or even really reality TV, because that's all scripted. So our stuff is not scripted. so so we don't have to be really upset and mad because that's what we're supposed to be shooting today. That's not how our situation works. So because of that, we realize, okay, we need a little time to breathe so we can actually be at our best and our strongest when we're dealing with the things that we have to deal with in the public space, and because we want you guys to know how we made it through. You know, like today, I didn't put my shoe in that woman's mouth. I could have, but I didn't. How did I make it through? I remembered who I was with and who I represent. You know what I'm saying? So I could not do that because Jules wasn't coming out to Laughlin to bail me out. She's got, and then I haven't even met her dad. So can you imagine? I got to go to Laughlin dad to bail D out of jail. What? Like. Although that would have been some great quality time for you and your dad in the car to talk.
Oh yeah.
I did rob you of that.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry I robbed you of that 4-hour experience. Oh, no,
yeah,
wait.
You should be.
6-hour experience. In the hot sun. Oh, anyway, but anyway, you guys, like, when it comes to pet peeves, okay, we definitely went off track a bit, but when it comes to pet peeves, everybody has them. It's how you deal with the things that irritate you that are going to make the biggest difference. Like, it's easy to complain about things. It really is. Okay, but it's harder to actually change the things you're complaining about. And if it gets on your nerves that much, then you're ultimately going to make a move in the direction that's going to actually bring a change to a particular situation. Like for me, I'm not a big. There are a lot of things I'm not a big fan of, but there are some things I just will not deal with. Like I'm not big on cursing, especially in my house, and really in my presence. But I don't like it when people try to think they can come to my house and cuss like a trucker. So anybody who comes to my house knows that, a word may slip here or there. Hey, cool. But when you can't control your mouth, you cannot be in my house. That's like, if you're going to sit at my table, unless somebody is calling you for, because it's an urgent situation or something that we dealt with right away, there's no need to pick up your phone while we're sitting and eating and talking, and stuff like that. Because, that's probably what would end up happening with Jules. Where with me, I'm like, y'all need to hurry up and eat, get away from my table so I can get back to what I want to do because y'all talking about some nonsense that don't make no sense, But I, again, have 2 kids, and they like to talk about farting a lot. And it makes their mom laugh. So,
but imagine if your 2 kids were just on their phones while you guys are at the dinner table. That would not happen in your household.
No, not in my house. No, it would not. Well, that's also because I would have the automatic shut-off on their devices. So if anything came to their devices during that time, it would route through my device, and I would let them know they have.
No, but what if they're 18 and what if they're 20? It doesn't matter. Well, at that point, you can't really do that. But it's just out of respect for you as a parent, you would.
Well, exactly.
Would put these devices away.
It is harder with siblings, I will say, because I've like my brother, not my little one, but my older brother. Technology is literally attached to his ear. Like so, every time it goes off, you hear this voice box go off like crazy, right? So what I do when I'm around my friends is, like you don't hear my voice box. Like a couple times you may have heard something go on. Oh, you got me doing it now. I've heard something go off once in a while, a message, but then I'll turn it off. So that, or I'll put a earbud in my ear, or I'll just turn it off and just check it later. You see what I'm saying? Whereas my brother, it was always sounding off, and it used to annoy me half to death because I'm like, I don't need to hear all that stuff, especially when I can't even understand what the thing is saying. So I'm not even a part of the message. But yeah, it's just what I was thinking about today when we were thinking about this topic. When this topic came up was not only the things that irritate me, but what I could do to change those things, and how much, because often pet peeves can be dealt with and changed with a little self-control and a positive forward-moving plan. And that's hard for people to do because they're irritated because it's a pet peeve. It just is. So I think that it's important to identify what irritates you, because really a pet peeve is something that obstructs your ability to think clearly and enjoy a situation a lot of the time. So what I would do is try to figure out why this thing irritates me and then what to do to fix it so that way I can. There's some things you cannot fix, like long lines, unless you think ahead and actually make an appointment at the DMV. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But if you are going to complain about a thing enough, then you're going to do something to change it. Like I said, I don't deal with cussing in my house. I don't deal with like one thing I do not do. I have friends who are like, I have friends who had been together when I that were dating and stuff. And they were when I lived on my own before I got married, and they used to try to come to my house and then make out with the person they with all over my furniture. No, that does not happen. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're go home.
Exactly.
You don't. Just because I stepped out of the room does not give you the oh, I had so many words, but just pick one. But you can't just be making out with people all over my furniture. And then I had one friend say, "You're just mad because you're by yourself. You ain't got nobody to make out with." I'm like, you mad because you live at home with your mama and you can't have no place else to make out, so you thought you could turn my house into a place where you could do all that crazy. Why don't you tell your mama to let you have your own room so that you can
Word.
Anyway, y'all.
Anyway, we're past our time.
Oh man, sorry about that. But we do have to go. But thank you guys for your comments. I saw quite a few come in, but then you guys kept taking them back because we answered your questions. So thank you for that. Definitely work on those areas of pet peeves, and when it comes down to things that kind of make you go a little crazy, and spend time getting to find a resolution to the issue. Social media is not the issue that we're actually addressing today. It's the inability to turn it off so that you can actually interact with people in a real way, in a real setting, so that you can actually get used to what it is like to communicate with somebody verbally, face to face, where you can even hold the person's hand or smack them across the head. You see what I'm saying? There's a way to do it. Jules just likes to hit me.
Well, you deserve it half the time, more than half the time, maybe just half the time, but I do it anyway. It's a love tap. How about that? Love slap.
Yeah, she just worked her way out. See how she kept on working until she found the solution. That's why I hang out. She's working towards solutions, y'all.
Yes.
Anyway, you guys, this is great. I'm going to enjoy my week away from everything. And and on that note, I'm Simply D.
This is Jill. This has been the INNERMIX Hangout. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week, Monday, 9 p.m.
Coolness.
Coolness.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Good night.